Good morning, Chattanooga. Here's a quick look at the top 5 news stories you need to know today. First of all, not every school system has a resource officer, but most have been considering adding them after the tragic Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in December. Most school systems in the region have resource officers in their high schools. Some systems have them in middle schools, but only a few have officers assigned to elementary schools. Some of the most rural school systems can't afford any officers. Marion County Schools never has had a resource officer for any of its 10 schools. Franklin County is making plans to add the most school resource officers in the region. Taxpayers there will pay $220,000 a year to install 8 new officers. Bradley County has staffed all 16 of its schools with resource officers and is considering adding a few more. Hamilton County has 20 resource officers, but that means nearly 60 schools in the county go without a full-time law enforcement presence. County commissioners fund positions for 25 officers, but last year Sheriff Jim Hammond cut officers from several schools, saying the recession forced him to allocate those resources elsewhere. Next up, the possibility is there. Jesse Matthews could return to a medium security prison. Right now, he lives alone in a cell 23 hours a day because he killed Chattanooga Police Sergeant Tim Chapin. If Matthews behaves himself, he will move back to a medium security prison where he'll have a cellmate, a job, education, visitors, and contact with other inmates. Though Matthews will be in prison for the rest of his life, locking him up under maximum security the entire time is neither cost-effective nor humane, the Assistant Commissioner of Prisons for Tennessee says. The average annual cost to house an inmate in maximum security is $35,000. The cost for a medium security inmate is $12,000 less. Speaking of cost of living, apartments are on the rise in Chattanooga. 2 developers are planning major apartment complexes in East Brainerd that will add more than 500 units to Chattanooga's rental market. The complexes are just 2 of many new apartment sites scheduled to open in the next year, as developers aim to capitalize on Chattanooga's booming apartment market. At least 1,000 new apartments are planned in the city during the next 12 months. Strong job growth, high occupancy rates, and pent-up demand are apparently driving developers to the city. One investor says Chattanooga has the best rent growth and best occupancy of any apartment market in Tennessee, and is one of the best in the entire Southeast. Next up, the Chattanooga Whiskey Company is ready to begin work on a new distillery on the city's south side this month, if state lawmakers approve a bill reversing prohibition here. Right now, Chattanooga Whiskey is distilled in Indiana because of the law. The company says it expects to employ about 15 workers at the new plant, bring in nearly 500 visitors a day, and millions of dollars in tourism to the city. The bill permitting distilling is expected to pass this month, meaning operations could begin in the city as soon as October. And finally, if you've been to Rock City, you've no doubt seen the work of the Gnome Doctor. Matthew Dudden spends his days creating new gnomes and repairing antique ones that have been broken over the years. Take a look.
I work in the art studio building props for special events and repair gnomes and create new gnomes and try to preserve the antique gnomes and figures that we've got. The gnomes that you find here at Rock City, whether they be out in the park or here in my shop, have been here way longer than I have. When you're looking at a pile of parts, start from the beginning. How would you want this thing to be put back together? Do you have the pieces you need? Do you need to recreate things that are missing? It's like a big 3D puzzle. So I'd have to say, I don't know anybody else making gnomes for a living.
And weather today will be rainy with a high near 63. The rain will continue throughout the evening, and tonight's low will be around 37. I'm Harrison Keeley. For more on these stories and updates throughout the day, follow us on Facebook and visit timesfreepress.com.